What's up YouTube? It's Luke here. Today I'm back after 3 years. This is going to be going on my 4th year using the Summer's Heat pellet stove. This has been an excellent pellet stove. I want to tell you a few things about it. I did have a few issues that I want to warn you about, but overall it's been a good stove. So before I get started today, take a moment and hit that subscribe button. I've got lots of great content on the way and I want you to be a part of it. There's a couple things I need to tell you. Number one, I've never cleaned this pellet stove before. Now, what do I mean by that? I have never cleaned this pellet stove. I have an ash vacuum, and every time I burn through a bag, I vacuum the ashes out with the ash vacuum. That's all I do. So today, after 3 full years of use, we're going to go ahead and break some of these components down, see exactly how dirty this thing is, see what accumulated over 3 years, and hopefully if you're looking to purchase this stove, you'll know what to expect after years of use. Before we break into the pellet stove, let me give you a few quick statistics about what I burn in this and about how much I burn. My house is about 1,100 square feet. I have the pellet stove in the living room in the far corner. I started with this pellet stove in the basement, but we found we liked it much better in the living room. Now, this pellet stove in and of itself is my sole source of heat for most of the winter. Typically in my house, we go through about 2.5 pallets of pellets each year. We used to burn wood, but we switched over to this pellet stove, and I'm not sad that we did. Now, I have had some issues with this stove in the past. They weren't anything major, but I'm going to tell you about them so that you know what can happen to this stove or similar stoves. The first thing that happened is there's a safety switch that ensures the lid is closed. This went bad right away and my igniter wouldn't start on my pellet stove. I disconnected this safety switch and ever since it's worked fine. It's important to make sure the hopper lid is closed, but I think it's easy to remember. Something else that happened, my latches on the top of my hopper lid, one of them, the nut came off and it fell apart. It fell down in the hopper while it was burning and the nut passed through somewhere. I can't find the nut or the part, so I can't latch the right side of the lid. This really wasn't that big of a deal, and truthfully it still works great. I don't think anything of it. The last thing I found to be very annoying is the combustion motor. The first year it was great. The second year it started making some noise. Last year, the third year, it made so much noise that I put some WD-40 where the bearing is in the end of the armature on that motor. It quieted it down for quite a while, but now it's kind of loud again. I know that this company says you need to replace the combustion blower from time to time, so I'm not surprised, but I want to get as much life out of mine as possible. This stove has a good size hopper. It can hold an entire bag, which is great. It does take a little leveling to get the full bag in it, but you can. Last year, I found that my gasket was leaking a little bit on my door. I was able to go on Amazon.com and find some gasket material. It came with some adhesive and I put it in there. It's worked great ever since and I haven't had any problems. So initially I got this pellet stove from Lowe's. I paid about $1,100 for it and I think it was a really good deal. It puts off a ton of heat and heats my house really well. We barely ever take it off the lowest setting. Even when it's minus outside, sometimes we still leave it on the base setting. Alright, let's go ahead and open it up, see how dirty it is. There's a plate inside I want to take out and we'll see what it looks like inside the heat exchanger. I went ahead and removed this interior panel out of the pellet stove. When I took it out, it was full of junk. So clearly the heat exchanger needs cleaned out. This is my fault for lack of maintenance over several years. I'm going to go ahead and vacuum this out, do my best to get it cleaned up, and we'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. I'm going to get down in the bottom and clean out the burn box as well. I also want to make sure the augers are working correctly, so I'm going to quickly cycle on the motor. I can then watch the auger spin and make sure there aren't any problems. Next, let's clean out the back. I've taken the back door off so you guys can see exactly what's in here. This is what the back of my pellet stove looked like when I first got it. It's unbelievably clean, right? Well, this is what it looks like today. Yeah, it's pretty filthy. It's obviously gotten a lot of dust inside. Now, this is the blower motor that I've been having problems with. The auger motors over here seem to be fine, and I'm just going to do a little cleaning in the back, kind of see if there's any general maintenance or wires I need to straighten up. There were layers of ash and buildup on the inside of the stove. Once I got this plate off, most of it fell off, but I had to use a putty scraper to get some off. Up here in the top, there was an extra channel that I didn't even know existed. I got that cleaned out the burn box, and now everything's looking better. It isn't perfect, but it's good enough for another Pennsylvania winter. Alright, so overall I've been really happy with this pellet stove. Is there a better one out there? Maybe, but for the price I paid and the amount of time I've been using it, it's been wonderful. I couldn't have asked for anything else. So my wife loves it because she can just run in the basement, grab a bag of pellets if it runs out, dump them in here. Easy to do. My girls love to vacuum the pellet stove out and do some of the cleaning for us. I really like the glass door. Being able to see in the front of the pellet stove is really nice, so I appreciate that. I'm surprised I haven't had any heat cracking or any issues with that. The door itself is heavy duty. It's been great this whole time. The design of the combustion box is really good as well. I think the holes are drilled in the right spot, so the airflow that comes through burns really efficiently and cleanly. Alright, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Take a moment to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.